Before creating Learning to Give, you spent a decade building a network of youth grant-making councils in every community foundation in every county across the state of Michigan. These Youth Advisory Councils, or YACs for short, now exist. Can you please briefly explain the project called Michigan Community Foundation's Youth Project?
Michigan Community Foundation's Youth Project, affectionately called MCFIP, has the youth advisory committees, affectionately called the YACs. So MCFIP has YACs. And what happened with that project was that in Michigan, we became concerned about the loss of capital, if you will, having gone through the lumbering era when huge wealth after our lumber was taken for the rebuilding of Chicago. All of those lumber barons had enormous wealth, and it all went away. And so we were realizing that we were at the end of an era of automotive and manufacturing money in Michigan. And we're concerned about how do we capture some of that money that was generated in our communities and keep it working in our communities. So the genesis of the Michigan Community Foundation's Youth Project was that a community foundation at a county or a major city level could recapture some of that wealth in an endowment and keep it working forever rather than having it just dissipate over time. We went to the W.K. Kellogg Foundation and asked them for funding to build the community foundations, to cover the state of Michigan, to bring them to a minimum level of organizational viability. And then the Kellogg Foundation came back to us and said, yes, we'll give you a challenge grant, but we want young people to serve as grant makers on our money, the money that's the challenge money. So it was a 2-to-1 challenge, $1 from Kellogg, $2 from the local community. And all of the money needed to be endowed, and their money, the Kellogg money, needed to have a youth committee. The most that a community foundation could raise would be $1 million in the youth fund and $2 million for their new community foundation. Over that 10 years, we were able to meet the goals, which were to cover the state of Michigan with community foundations, to make sure that they all came to this minimum level of organizational viability, which meant having at least a part-time director and $2 million in the bank. And now we have this whole array of youth advisory committees, some of which are now, 10, 20 years old. And we've begun to see the results of the young people who were selected to be on those committees as they've made career choices and gone into leadership positions. And it's been very humbling to see how these young people have taken these lessons and brought them into their adult life. Some of them went into philanthropy, others became doctors and lawyers and went on into their other life choices. But they will always be philanthropists, and they will always understand the process of grant making. We've had many of them write back to us. I had an opportunity to be a part of it, but I thought it was a brilliant strategy, really put together by Dottie Johnson at the Council of Michigan Foundations and Russ Mauby at the Kellogg Foundation, to permanently change the infrastructure of philanthropy in the state of Michigan. And it will be there forever. I'm looking forward to my grandkids having a chance to be on a YAC of MCFIP.